You know that we fly, ain't talking about no tours. And we talking about them hoopers that hoopin' that court. And we get straight to business. I get no rest like it's tennis, yo. They come to the sports, we a menace, yo. Feel like we in the pool, go swimming, yo. I'm on the beat, I took off. Let the game talk, don't need a look off. I run off on the interview football. Yeah, then you ain't that look off. We get green like bait. We poking that babe, no, it's big South K. They talking about Wilson, you know they go crazy. And I'm feeling like Trey, I pull up for the trade, yo.
Welcome to Tiger Town Podcast. I'm Cam.
And I'm Kaila.
You can find this show on all podcast platforms. Remember to like, comment, and share. So now today we have the new head football coach, Coach Glenwood Ferebee. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. So first we're going to start off with a little icebreaker questions, or what we like to call the Fab Five. What is your favorite movie?
Grease.
I've never seen that movie.
It's a movie with John Travolta. It's an old classic movie.
Yeah, that's really a classic. The first time I watched the movie all the way through was probably in 2021, and it was in a drive-through theater, so it felt very authentic. So childhood favorite breakfast. So what's your favorite cereal?
Ooh, Captain Crunch berries.
Okay.
I like the berries. I don't like the berries.
You like the berries?
No. My favorite is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like that. No one can go wrong with those.
I have to second you with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No one can go wrong with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Leave me out here by myself.
Yeah.
All right. So like everyone likes music. So like, what's your favorite genre of music?
Reggae.
So since you like reggae, you're going to see the new Bob Marley movie that's going to come out soon?
Definitely will. Definitely will.
Well, I'd say my mom is also excited about that movie as well.
He's a legend.
Yeah, I've heard some of his songs.
Who's your favorite actor?
Denzel Washington. I can watch all his movies.
Yeah.
I definitely can watch all his movies.
I can watch all his movies, but I can't watch Training Day. And I can't watch Training Day because, don't get me wrong, it's a really good movie, but I hate seeing him be the villain. I'm used to him being like the savior, so seeing him being the villain, it upsets me.
No, it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's a good movie though. It's tough to watch though. I get you.
And that's also my mom's favorite. My mom loves Denzel, so that's her boyfriend. So like when he has movies, my mom will say, "I'm going to see my boyfriend," and my dad would be like, "Let me guess, Denzel," and she'd be like, "Yep."
Everybody.
Well, with going on with cereal, what's your favorite type of food? Like, what's something you can eat like anytime?
Anytime. Chicken. Fried chicken.
Everyone can eat just chicken here.
I could definitely agree with chicken. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna now, since you've answered our Fab Five questions, we want to get a little bit to know more personal things about you, so that everyone can know and grow to love you as a staple in our community and the school. So, where were you born?
Born in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 1977.
Okay.
Jeez.
Now, Cal, you wrong for that
one. All right, and so down in your hometown, which high school did you attend?
Green Run High School.
How was it like in high school?
It was pretty chill. It was a mixture of the demographics was mixed. Probably 60% African American, maybe 30% Caucasian, and then probably about 10 other.
Yeah. And so we know that like in school, of course you play football, but was there any other sports that you played or that you grew to love?
I played basketball and ran track. So I was a three-sport athlete.
And speaking of being a three-sport athlete, do you recommend like kids today to be like multiple athletes? Because a lot of times now we're seeing where like kids are younger and younger and they're starting to just specialize in one sport. And as someone, I also played multiple sports in high school. So it was kind of like you do those things to give your body like a break from doing the same thing over and over. So what's your take on that?
No, I think kids should play as many sports as they can, because a lot of times, if you're a football player, a lot like I encourage my guys to wrestle and run track, because some of those movements that are in those different sports correlate to football. And the same thing with football and basketball. If you're a basketball player and you play football, you play the game a little bit different. You play a lot tougher, play a lot more aggressive, and that makes a big difference of when you're trying to get a scholarship. It makes a big difference.
See, personally, I play basketball. I played baseball, but then I stopped and started this. I just play basketball now.
You need to get back on the baseball field.
Maybe let's not think about it. So, which college did you attend?
Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's a Christian college. I went there on full scholarship.
I've heard of it. But
Yes, I've heard of it. They've always had a good basketball team and
Yes.
softball team.
And their football team
Yes.
just went undefeated this
They
year.
did. They did. And what was your major in college?
Sports management. Started off in sports management and then progressed over to education.
So what got you interested in education?
My mom was a teacher forever. She was a teacher for a long time, and just seeing the impact that she had on some of the younger kids, elementary school kids, kind of swayed me in that way.
Okay. And why did you choose to go to Liberty?
Crazy story. I was recruited by UNC, Florida, East Carolina, coming out of school, but I didn't have the GPA. I didn't have the GPA to actually go until after they changed it. I think it was 2.5 at one point, and they moved it back to 2.0. Once they moved it back to a 2.0, I was able to go, but they waited till May? they waited till May. So that was the only school that was left after the signing date that I could go to. So I used that as a teaching point with my guys. Say, hey, I've been in your shoes. This is what happened to me. Don't let that happen to you.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned playing football for Liberty. What was it like playing for what was your day to life like?
Ooh, it was like a job. You were up for class, lunch, study hall, practice, then study hall again, then sleep. And then in the spring, when you had spring workouts, it was 5 a.m, workout, mandatory breakfast, then the class, then weightlifting, then spring practice. So football it's a everyday thing in college. There's not many breaks.
And do you have any, because I like to hear athletes talk about this when they move up a level in sports. So it's like, what was your welcome to college football moment where you're like, yeah, man, these guys are in a different league?
I scrambled. I played quarterback. In high school, you could scramble and cut back across the green because a high school defensive lineman never chased the play. So I cut back across the green, and the D-line was chasing the play, and I was about 160 pounds, and he hit me, and he knocked me at least 8 to 10 yards. Damn it. I mean, he gave me a first down, but he knocked me into a first down, and I realized then, it's like, okay, this game is a little different.
Can't be scrambling like you was scrambling.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Do you have any kids?
Yes, I have a son, Glenwood Ferebee II. He's 16 years old now. He lives in Dunwoody, Georgia.
Does he have the love for the game as you do?
He does. He plays football and runs track. He's a JV player right now. I'm hoping he decides to come play with his dad. So we're still working on that.
Yes, sir.
Are you married?
No, I'm divorced. I was 11 years now. 11 years.
What inspired you to pursue a career in coaching, especially in high school football?
I guess once I went off to college, like I said, I started off as a quarterback, and I realized when I got to college that there was a lot of things that I was lacking, knowledge-wise, of the college football game. I could throw the ball far, and Plexico Burris was my wide receiver. He was a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver back in the day. He was my wide receiver in high school, and he was 6'5" in high school, so it was drop back and throw it deep to Plex. But I never was taught the actual intricacies of the game. So that kind of motivated me now to teach the kids how to actually play the game and how the game goes, so they won't be, once they get to college, they don't be left behind. So that was one of the motivating factors that I didn't want the things that I was lacking to happen to my kids.
Gotcha. Can you share your coaching philosophy and principles that you believe contribute to the success on the football team?
Hard work is the main thing with me. I always say this thing: the biggest ability that you can have is two: dependability and availability. And availability means you have to be there every day, and dependability means you have to be there and dedicated every day. So those are two of my ride or die things. You got to be dependable, and you got to be available. And if you take care of those two things, everything else will take care of itself.
And so with being a new head coach and you have these impressionable kids and they're in a transitional period with coaching staff and so how do you build that bond of camaraderie and unity so that the kids not only believe in each other but believe in you as their new leader?
Team building, opportunities, and also getting like-minded coaches on your staff, guys that want to pour into the guys, spend time with those guys, make phone calls to those guys to check on them from day to day to make sure, one, they're doing the right thing, and also getting to know them. So that's going to be the biggest thing with my coaching staff that I'm going to challenge them to get into these kids' lives and, kind of understand them. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job with that.
All right, so a lot of people are wondering like, why Wilson, basically, and so what is like your first impressions on Wilson, like as a school and like as talking to the football team?
Just like I said, the tradition and the homecoming, and how people pour into the school. That's a big thing to me, because I've been places where people didn't pour in, and you out there working hard, and you bring in wins, you bring in championships, but it's not being celebrated the right way. And what I mean by celebrated, the kids starting to have pride in the school as opposed to pride in themselves. So I want to be somewhere where the kids take pride in saying they go to Wilson. And I see that here.
And
yeah, I say that's something they do here.
That's I know you've probably seen like Wilson University and like things of that nature. And a lot of people are probably like why does a high school say that? But it's just because of like, as somebody who I tell people I went to a historically Black high school and then I had the pleasure of going to a historically Black college.
Yeah.
So when I tell people there's not much of a difference between Wilson and South Carolina State University where I attended, just because of how much people have pride in this school and how much people love to say that they attended Wilson. I'm not originally from Florence, so growing up, I heard about Wilson, and then I had the pleasure of attending, and I can truly say it is a different environment than most schools. And like you said, the kids will be celebrated. But what do you think? What I'm trying to say is, it could also be challenging because now you do have the support, but it's kind of like, if not necessarily. Not saying that this is going to happen, but like if you don't win right away, then you can kind of have more people, like it could be more pressure on you to win. So how would you handle all of that pressure?
I guess me being a quarterback all my life, and I get this analogy all the time. You could be a quarterback and throw the 5 touchdowns, but you throw the interception at the end, they still say it's your fault.
Yeah.
And they forget about all 5 touchdowns that put you in a position to win that. So I've developed thick skin over time, and I know it's a process to become a winner, because I've taken over programs prior to the state championships that were 1-9, 2 years prior to me getting there, and my first job was 0-10 prior to me getting there, and they were the similar situations and similar demographics, but they could see the progression from one year to the next. So long as you keep with the progression, they'll buy in. They'll buy in, and they'll see that, hey, it looks a lot better now than it did. Let's give them some time, or let's keep believing in them. Then once we get to that point, now everything else will take care of itself.
Because I'm gonna tell you, all you gotta do is beat West South and win homecoming, and I promise you,
they'll love you. They'll love you then.
That's gonna secure you for another year. I promise.
They'll love you then, especially if you win homecoming.
If you win homecoming, we've been in a drought. We've been in a drought, and on homecoming, winning on homecoming.
Last 2 years,
yes,
we played
South Florence, and they've been undefeated, winning 27 games in a row. So like, and that's been a measuring stick for us. But no matter what, the fans are still going to be packed out at homecoming because at the end of the day, Wilson, we love each other, we support each other, and we're going to be there for each other no matter what. So, but I promise you, those 3 things, man, you the best thing since sliced bread.
Too funny.
All right. So throughout your playing and coaching career, who has been someone that has like influenced you or shaped you as like the person and coach you are?
My dad. He coached me since I was young. Growing up, coached me in basketball, coached me in football, and coached me in baseball. So, and that's another reason why I got into coaching because of him.
And what could be some of your long-term and short-term goals for Wilson football program?
Short-term goal is to change the culture, to get the kids believing in what I'm saying and what the coaching staff is saying. Long-term goal is to get some jewelry on our finger.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, to get some jewelry on our finger. and that's always the goal. That's always the goal, and we're gonna work to get to that goal. I've done it in the past, came close a few times, and we went to two, and I don't think Coach McQueen realized this. We went to three back to back.
Oh wow!
And lost in the last one before I went to Tech in a monsoon.
Oh,
Like you couldn't even see the other sideline from the rain. We was at NC State, and we would have won that game as well. So it would have been three back to back if it wasn't raining, because we were clearly faster and more athletic than the other team. But the rain and the soggy field kind of evened out
the talent.
Yeah.
And the sad part was they scored right before the bottom dropped out the sky.
Oh wow!
They scored right before the bottom dropped out the sky.
Well, congratulations on that, because that's a huge
accomplishment.
That's a huge accomplishment in any sport. It's rare that you see teams have dominant runs of going three times.
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate you on being able to coach young men and to be able to have a culture where winning is the norm.
Yes.
All right. Being that you have coached both, like, what is like difference between high school and football? I mean, high school and college.
College now is becoming a business. With the transfer portal and the NIL. So now it's even more difficult for the high school guys to attain the scholarships that they normally would. And when I was when I was talking in my press conference, where I say you got to be prepared to go to college, now it's even more being prepared, because now they can go get a freshman that's already been in college, that's been through spring practice and summer practice, so they're already college prepared. So us as high school football coaches, now it puts more pressure on us to actually coach to a point where the kids can go to college and be ready to play now, so they won't get left behind and the colleges go get kids out the transfer portal.
What do you plan to employ to motivate and inspire your players, both on and off the field? Because the word is student athlete.
Yes.
And so you have to instill in these players to be both, because how you said they can go and get in the transfer portal and get someone with a higher GPA. They don't have to worry about academically. So how do you instill that in, because this is a different generation of kids. So, so how do you instill that in them?
So first of all, you gotta see what their goals are. And if their goals are to go to college, they got to understand from point A to point D what it takes to get there. So once they give us their goals, it's up to us to hold them accountable to those goals. Like, this is what you wrote down. You said this was your goals. Are you doing everything that you said you wanted to do to get to that point? Because this is what it takes. And I think from your coaching staff, each position coach needs to hold their kid accountable. And then we're also going to be able to get out in the community, where they're going around the community and going up to strangers and asking them, what did you say they're walking down the street and they see a lawyer. Go up to that lawyer and ask them, how did he get to that point? And video record it or write it down, and now bring it back and share it with the team. And now, if everybody does that, I can guarantee you that it's going to be something consistent in there between a janitor, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a fireman. It's going to be one or two things in there that's consistent with all of them where they became successful. And those are the points that you take away from there to get the kids to understand, like, hey, no matter what you do, you have to do these two or three things in order to be successful. So those are some of the things that we're going to, employ to them to get them motivated to get out there and do the things they need to do.
Yes, sir.
can you share your thoughts on the importance of academics and character development for the student athletes?
It's big now. Like I said, with the goals and the way the world is moving. In my opinion, the way the world is moving, you have to be a good person.
Mhm.
You have to be a good person, and educational wise, you have to. And I tell my football players this: some. You've been to college. Some of the stuff we learn in college we don't use,
No.
but it's the critical thinking part that you need. If you can't think critically, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle. So it's not about the academics as far as uh, using it later on in life. It's more or less using the critical thinking and problem solving skills that you learn from your classroom work. And we do the same thing on the football field. Like we're going to challenge them where they're going to have to go home and study their playbooks. So you're going to learn some type of study skills that you're going to be able to apply in the classroom and on the football field.
Are you going to bring any traditions or rituals that you believe contribute to team bonding and just being together?
Yes. So at Chambers, we had a fourth quarter sprint right before once the fourth quarter begins or third quarter ends. We all take a sprint to the end zone and we talk about what we're going to do. Even if it's win or lose, or we're winning or losing, we talk about what we're going to do to finish the game off. Because the biggest thing with me is we have to finish. You got to finish what you start. So that is one tradition I'll bring. And there's going to be a few other things that some of the coaches that I've put in place that they have ideas on. So we're going to try to bring a few things. And I know one thing I'm going to bring from back home in the 757. I know that they're going to clown me for this. We're going to try to get a tiger cage
Okay.
built. I know I talked to Coach McQueen about it. And when y'all watch the podcast, go to YouTube and look up Oscar Smith football.
I think I've
Tigers
seen a
entrance.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have?
it's pretty popular.
It
Yeah.
is.
So I'm going to reach out to my people in 7.5 and let them know that I'm stealing it and bringing a piece of the 7.57 with me to the 843, and
Yes,
we're gonna get it popping down here.
Hey,
I like the
we
sound of
like
that,
to we
yeah.
like to have better entrances
Yes.
than anybody.
Yeah.
Basketball, we the only school in the PD around. When they do the start five, lights go out.
Yes.
Big
Yep.
video board saying the names and of the kids. No one else does that.
Yeah.
Even our podcast of here doing this, talking to you.
Yeah.
So we love when you bring
Yeah.
things that
We
gonna
love
make
being
us
different.
stand out,
Yeah, we love being
and that makes a difference. That
does.
makes
It
players
does.
buy in more. It
Yep.
makes the fans buy in more. So I'm glad to hear you say that you're gonna bring something like that
Yep.
that'll really establish us as Wilson High School.
Yes, ma'am.
It's okay.
All right, back on the student athlete topic. How you're gonna approach balancing out like being a student and an athlete? How are you gonna approach that with your athletes?
So study halls will be mandatory for guys that are struggling in class. That's going to be a
Mhm.
mandatory deal. We haven't got into the details of when practice is going to be. If we can practice in the morning, then we'll have study hall in the afternoon after school. Or if not, then we'll try to have study hall in the morning and then practice in the afternoon. So it's just some logistical things that we have to get with Coach McQueen about. But academics is going to come first and foremost, because if you can't have that work ethic to do what you're supposed to do in the class, there's no way you're going to learn the stuff that we're talking about, trying to get you to learn on the football field. And if you can learn on the football field, then you should be able to learn it in the classroom
Yeah.
and do the things you need to do in the classroom.
Yes, sir. And we all know that with kids this young, parents play a huge role and in the kids' development as well. So how do you plan on, what role do you envision parents playing in supporting the success of Wilson High School Tigers program?
Just parents having a realistic understanding of what their kid is and his abilities. And I've learned over the years, I think parents respect you a lot more when you're being upfront and honest. As long as you're doing it not in a disrespectful way, but in a way where they can understand, like, hey, he's really truly here to help my kid. So dealing with parents that I've dealt with over the years, being upfront and honest with them has helped out a lot. And telling them what their kid needs to work on.
Yes, sir.
All right, with your coaching career, can you share like a moment or achievement that you're like particularly very proud of, like throughout your whole career?
So when I first moved to Charlotte, when I first moved to Charlotte, we we played Lake Norman. We played Lake Norman. I don't know if Pop, I don't know if you remember that one, but we were losing. It was down 14 points. No, 10. We were down 10 points with 2.5 minutes left to go in the game. And Lake Norman had never beat Vance. So you heard the people in the crowd. But I was cool, calm, and collective. And my AD, he came to me and said, "Hey, I got the policeman to walk you out." And I was like, "Walk me out for what?" He was like, they're not gonna take too kindly as losing. I said, "We're not gonna lose. We're gonna win this game." I said, "So you don't need to call the security. We're gonna be all right." Long story short, we scored, kicked the onside kick, got it back, and scored again. Game over, and we won. So that was the turning point, and it made me feel good because I was in the same situation I was here, where a new coach, resume spoke for itself, trying to get the kids to buy in, and they realized then, like, whoa, okay, coach told us we was gonna win, and ever since then, it turned, and a lot of people don't know that first state championship run, we went on the road 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
To win the state championship. We played on the road, and it was an hour. Some drives were an hour, and some of us an hour and a half, and we went on the road and went 5-0 on the road to win the state championship.
Good thing about this school, if you go on the road, we're gonna travel with you.
Yeah. I would say you're always gonna have a crowd.
No matter where you go, they're gonna be in the stands.
If you win, you're gonna have a crowd no matter what.
Yeah,
and like we said earlier, they support you when you win.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Let me tell you, they'll shut the city down. It'll be purple and gold, and you'll be like, "There's no way there's this many Wilson flags on cars."
Yeah.
It's you'll really get to see it homecoming.
Yeah,
and you'll hear it on a radio station. It'll be on billboards. Like it'll be everywhere. It's definitely bigger than
like
some
game,
universities.
Like the game. So normally, like they open the gates like 6:30 for homecoming. Gates open at 5:30. When I tell you 5:30, the stands are filled. You get here at 7:30, you're not getting in the game.
No,
the game starts at 7:30. You get here at 7:30, you're not getting in the game.
Wow.
Trust me.
Like I think especially in the old stadium that we had.
I rode by that.
When I was here at Wilson, I think it was 1 year it was 60,000. It was like 60,000. And then for that tailgate the next day, it had like 45 to 50,000 at just that tailgate that day.
Love the tailgate.
And I promise you, the Tiger Town knows that like we're not just saying this to say this, but like it's a whole different. When we won the state championship in basketball, like we had a parade.
Oh yeah.
And then because when they won the middle school boys in basketball team, they also won their championships. They got rings too, even in middle school.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you win, alumni wants to shower you with praise.
Yeah.
They want to show you like how much you appreciate it. And I love that, like as an athlete or just someone as alumni, like I love the fact because these are kids.
Yeah.
Some might not play after high school.
This, yeah. Yep.
So if they can be remembered and celebrated now, why not do that?
Yep.
So I promise you, it's going to be a sight.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a sight.
Best thing about homecoming to me is the tailgate food. Going to each class, like I was young, going to each class, like mind you. So my grandparents, I go to their class first because they like the field and like the old people are down there. Not calling them old, but it starts down there. And then like my parents graduate, so I go to their class. Then I go to other people's class. Like it's just the food. You're gonna leave hungry, and you're gonna take plates. You're gonna
you'll be surprised though how people from like class of 1950, 1955, like it's but it's just a rich tradition that we can talk about it all day, but it won't sink in until you actually see it.
Yep.
Because then when you see it, you're like, I see why they say Wilson University. Like it's big.
I can't wait.
And so we just having some conversation with you, we see that you're a family man. And so like how is it balancing being a coach and also still being present and attentive as a family man?
My parents are going to be at every game. I know my dad, he excited me being here because he hadn't had a chance to come. With me being at Virginia Tech for the past few years, he hasn't had a chance to actually get out and come to the games. But back in Virginia, in Charlotte, well, not even in Charlotte, but back in Virginia, he was at every game. So, and my mom was there right along with him, fussing at people in the stands. So it's not hard to balance when your parents are supportive. And my son is playing in Georgia, so I'm a little bit closer to him, where I'll be able to on bye weeks be able to go see him play as well.
Well, like you said, let's hopefully, come down here, put on some purple and
You
gold or
know?
something.
Yeah.
He can join in the tradition,
Exactly.
and he can be a tiger.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so he can get celebrated.
Yes.
All right. And so in your years of life and coaching, what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome?
That's a good question. Rejection. I would say rejection because, being an African American football coach, it's one of those deals where you see it in the NFL where we rarely get the opportunities to be the lead guy. So when you set goals for yourself to be that guy, and you keep reaching to a point where you think you're there, and then somebody knocks you down. So when you get knocked down, you got to fight your way back up. So those are some of the biggest obstacles I had to face over the years. But it made me who I am today. Where it's like nothing you could do to me gonna stop me from doing what I want to do.
What is your favorite saying or quote that you find yourself often thinking about or often repeating to your players or just yourself?
Love and loyalty. You'll see that on a couple of T-shirts that we'll have this year, and I think it's self-explanatory. We're gonna love each other and we're gonna be loyal to each other. With the way people transferring these days,
Yeah,
you're never gonna build anything unless you do have that love and loyalty to each other. So that's gonna be one of the mottos that we go by this first year is love and loyalty.
and I do want to add in one more question. Before Cam gives you the last question, you kind of have to build a foundation, and so what would be your involvement with building the next generation of Tigers at the middle school level?
Being a presence down there, making sure you're at the game, and making sure that the coaches down there are speaking the same language that we're speaking here. So when they do come in, that's less verbiage, less language that we have to teach them. Now we can focus on the fundamentals of teaching them how to get in the stance, how to take on blocks, how to carry a football, how to tackle, and things like that. So that's going to be one of the main things that we do as far as the middle school is concerned. And then with the Pop Warner, I think it's Pop Warner down here.
Yeah.
Being at the Pop Warner games as well and being a presence there as well.
That's good. I got a nephew. He's 6 years old. I can't wait. Let me tell you. He played flag football first time. I'm telling you, one of the best short tacklers I've seen. Okay, and I watch a lot of football, and I know he only 6, and I know if I say that's your nephew, I understand that. But when I tell you, now he wasn't supposed to be tackling, but he was tackling. But I'm talking about solid tackling, and then he ripped the flag off. So,
that's the best way to get the flag.
You wrap them up, don't let them go.
Yep.
So I can't, and from talking to you, I feel like you'll be here for a long time. So it's I can watch him come in and play right under you, and I get to you be the auntie in the stands.
Too funny.
All right. So for our last question, is there anything that you would like for the Tiger community to know?
Just be ready. Be ready because we're gonna do some special things. I can't promise you it's gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to a point where it's gonna be a program that they're gonna be proud of. They're gonna be proud of.
Well, thank you so much, Coach, for taking your time out to talk to me and Cam and to talk to your new fan base here at Wilson High School and in Tigertown. Do you have anyone you want to shout out or just give thanks to?
Nah, just shout out Wilson alumni. Shout out, was it Wilsonians?
Yeah.
Shout out Wilsonians. We about to get this thing going. And like I said, you're going to be proud. You're going to be proud of the product that we put on the field.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time again. And thank you for joining us this week on Tigertown Podcast. Remember, you can find us on all Tigertown platforms. Until next time, I'm Cam.
And I'm Kaila.
And we're out.